You wonder why I don't like to call you my girlfriend? Because I want to call you my wife.
Pac-12 Panic Room plus BYU plus USU plus Weber, JP Chunga, Mitch Harper, Emmys edition because the Emmys happened.
Yes.
So, devising a plan to give out awards for the 3-week season that we've seen so far. Starting off, let's go with the train wreck. Best comedy in the early Pac-12 Panic Room season.
Yeah, for me, JP, it's Oregon State. I mean, they lost this past weekend to Nevada. I was kind of a little bit high, not high, but I was a little bit warming up to Oregon State. Maybe they'd have a decent enough offense. So that first week against Ohio State put up 30-something points. They lost to Nevada and Jay Norvell, and I mean, it was on the road. I get that, but still, there's just no signs of hope for Oregon State. And I just think that every week, that's a win, even for the likes of Arizona and all these teams that look like they have some questions that might not win many games. I just think Oregon State's an automatic win. I don't see them winning again this season. I just think they're that bad.
And they had to go to Reno.
Yes.
Yikes.
Yeah, that's not good. That's never good. And hopefully they hit some slots or something because that was bad. You lose to Nevada of all teams. Like that's one of the worst in the Mount West there.
On a last-second field goal that you couldn't get it done. My best comedy, Utah's offense. Terrible. I watched that game against Washington. They looked inept. They had poor play calling. Second half, going into the second half, at the end of the first, where Tyler Huntley is taking a shot late in the half when you have Matt Gay, one of the best kickers in college football, and you're throwing it deep and it gets intercepted. What do you know? Poor situation to put yourself into.
Utah out of timeouts. Here's Huntley. Going to take a shot down the sideline, and it is intercepted. It's Jordan Miller on the pick. A critical mistake by Huntley and Utah. The first turnover of the game.
Play calling has been terrible. The offense has been 17 points against Northern Illinois and against Washington. The two FBS teams that you've had, 17 points. Not good.
That's a great point. I mean, when you put it in those terms, you take away the Weber State game. That is pretty bad. And are you kind of jumping off the Utah train? I mean, not that you were necessarily on, but I mean, that's Utah fans everywhere. I mean, we're here in Salt Lake and on the home of the Utes, and every caller we get, it's just bench Huntley, get Jack Tuttle, and he's the third-string quarterback. Yeah. It would be Jason Shelley. They're ready to be done with Huntley. I keep hearing the name Aaron Roderick wasn't so bad after all. Yeah, it is a mess. But I do think, JP, that with how wide open the Pac-12 South is, Utah's going to still be a contender. But, man, it is bad, and it raises a lot of questions because we heard it here locally. There was so much hype about the Utes. And, yes, you did lose the top 10 team, but I think Utah should have been, punch for punch with Washington to the very end. That's been what they've been for a long time, at home especially, and at night. But, yeah, they were outclassed against Washington. That was kind of surprising to see.
Zach Moss, Armand Shine were averaging 5 yards a carry, and they didn't stick with him. You had a pass-to-rush ratio evidenced in the pass area. Not a chance for me. No. Offensive play calling, best comedy so far in the season. Go a little, could be good, could be bad. Best drama Emmy for the Pac-12 Panic Room for you.
Yeah, for me, it's got to be USC. USC is a juicy drama. It's in L.A., big stars. You always have high expectations in the land of Troy. And Clay Helton, the fans already want him fired again. We go through this every single year. What is it? 2 of the last 3 years, they've had a start of 1-2, 1-3. It's happening again. And just the manner in which they lost to Texas. -5 rushing yards, JP. -5. With all the talent they have. I mean, again, we talk about it all the time. The 4- and 5-star talent that USC gets, the classes have been small in numbers, but still, you're getting incredible talent. There's something wrong in that culture down at USC because not just Clay Helton, but Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian, they just underperform all the time. They're going to win a lot of games still in the Pac-12 because of that talent, but they get out of conference once again to represent the league, and they get outclassed by an average Texas team of sorts. So for me, the drama is definitely in the land of Troy.
And save your job game possibly against Washington State this Friday.
Great point.
So it'll be at home where Clay Helton is undefeated, which will also help him out. But the drama is thick there when you have Clay Helton and T. Martin going at offensive play calling. My best drama, UCLA. Oh, I love when a good football dad goes out on Twitter and starts blasting the head coach saying he did nothing at Oregon. Dorian Thompson-Robinson's dad has Chip Kelly answering questions about him in the Pac-12 teleconference. And Chip Kelly does not want to be doing that.
No, he does not. And UCLA, they always have these stories with dads.
Yep.
Snoop Dogg's, and the kettlebell, like this always happens in LA and feel bad for Chip Kelly. Did he realize the extent how bad his roster was? I mean, he had to have known, but I think he had to expect coming out of non-conference they would have been 2-1 with Cincinnati and Fresno State, 2 G5s in the Rose Bowl. Man, I can only imagine those crowds are going to just get smaller and smaller and smaller because no one in LA is putting up with a loser, and they are a loser this season.
And you have just better football in LA. The
Yep.
Rams are good. You could go to there. The Chargers will take over UCLA right now. Things aren't going good there. Next one, this is a big category for you in the Emmys. The Best Actor. Who has been your MVP in the Pac-12 Panic Room plus BYU plus USU plus Weber?
For me, it's quarterback Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Oregon, I think he's been great. Now, granted, the schedule's been weak, but he's dominating that competition. When you talked about Utah and their offense, we wanted to see them dominate Northern Illinois. Heck, we even saw them struggle a little bit early on with Weber State getting down 10-0. Justin Herbert, he's had weak competition, but he's dominated them like they're a second-class team, and he's been impressive, and it sets up a huge showdown now against Stanford and Oregon with College Game Day there. So this is going to be really the defining week. If he wins, comes out with a victory here, they're going to ascend through the polls, and also he's going to be a guy that probably in the lead or in the conversation with Tua Tagovailoa at Alabama for the Heisman. So Herbert is doing a great job. Best NFL draft prospect. We got to get that in there every time we talk Herbert. But he's my MVP thus far.
He had a pass against Portland State. I know Portland State, but it was zipped over the cornerback right into the breadbasket of a wide receiver. Tremendous stuff from him. My best actor, I'm going to go with the guy that has carried Colorado, Laviska Shenault.
Yeah.
The guy has been a
great receiver.
The leading receiver in the Pac-12. And also, if you don't count the guys above him in the receiving category because they played an extra game, he's the leading receiver in college football, 3 touchdowns to his name. He's the big reason why Steven Montez has been phenomenal for that team in the Buffs.
Is Colorado the best team in the South right now?
I know, they might be. They might have had the best win against Nebraska, but then you see them lose against Troy, so we'll see how that all edges out. But Colorado's been impressive, and in a year where Mike McIntyre was feeling a little bit of that heat. Best miniseries, and this could have been my best actor, also just alluding to what I'm going to pick for best miniseries. A best actor non-player division, Jeff Grimes. Best miniseries, BYU. Haven't brought it up yet because they beat Wisconsin. Best win in the Pac-12 Panic Room plus BYU plus USU plus Weber. Being able to beat a team on the road, become basically the Big Ten team to the Big Ten team, it was amazing. Squally Canada able to get it done on the ground. You had Tanner Mangum throwing for less than 100 yards. That's showing you're a bruising, physical team. That's the best team for me, at least right now, in the mini-series of the Pac-12.
I'm as shocked right now as when BYU won on Saturday that you picked them as the best miniseries because I'm stunned. I'm stunned that BYU won that game. It was shocking. It was truly remarkable that BYU pulled that off. I mean, last year lost 40-6 to that same group, and they've gotten better personnel-wise. Wisconsin, I think that BYU, that was a great job, and that makes, I think, Cal look a little bit better too. They're 3-0, and I think a lot of people in the Bay Area are thinking, why isn't Cal ranked over BYU? But that win in that moment, regardless of what Wisconsin becomes this year, that's a huge defining moment for that new BYU, that new culture that Kalani and Jeff Grimes have brought to the program.
I posed this question to Gunther and Ben. Was Cal's win over BYU the best win for the Pac-12 out of conference? I mean, the only contender is Michigan State, but we don't know what Michigan State is.
That's a good Colorado too, Nebraska.
Yeah.
That's in the conversation as well.
Yeah.
Just because of the venue still, but man, that's a really good question. I mean, Cal's win on the road as an underdog. BYU was the favorite. I think you make a legit case for that with now BYU being in the top 25.
They realize what they have. Nothing crazy for Tanner Mangum. Don't lose to the game. A game manager has become a slur. But with BYU and the way that they're playing now, they're my best miniseries. What about you?
For me, it's Colorado. We were talking about them moments ago. I think that Colorado, the expectations were very low. Yep. And I think because of that, that's why I've got them in the spot because they're far exceeding that. And they're looking really good, too. They're dominant. And again, I mentioned it earlier, that schedule sets up really well to where they're maybe 6-7-0. And they could be the leader maybe at the end of the season coming to Salt Lake City and have the division clinched if they potentially beat USC. But I think that Colorado, for me, is the best mini-series right now, the best team because of how they look, the production on the offensive end. They got the schedule that works really well for them. And I think Montez might be the best quarterback in the conference as well, next to Herbert.
Who are your Pac-12 Panic Room Emmys, and who would you hand them out to? Let us know in the comments below. This has been the Pac-12 Panic Room plus BYU plus USU plus Weber. For Mitch, I'm JP. Till next time, bye for now.